there. Good evening on Sunday night, a Mother's Day night, right here on the Fox 6 Sports Blitz. Brandon Cruz, Lily Zhao, Tim Van Vorn, and you, which we appreciate. We're going sports for the next half hour or so. Here is our starting lineup. Quarter of the way or so into the baseball season. Talking about where the Brewers have been, what lies ahead. Steve Stricker makes us say what, and then goes one-on-one with our Brandon Cruz. Major buzz surrounding this week's high school hotshot, too.
It was a one-run game, but, they left 13 on base. And, we walked too many guys. We didn't execute. I think offensively and pitching and whatever, it just wasn't a great ball game for us. It's hard to beat a major league team 4 times. Any of these 30 major league teams, it's hard to beat them.
Pat Murphy, after today's Brewers loss, 4-3 to the Cardinals, and he's kind of downtrodden. Chris Yelich was like, we just didn't play well today. That's true, but they played well this weekend. They do win 3 of 4 against the Cardinals. They're back definitely in business and leading the National League Central Division. I'm going to you first, Lily Zhao. 40 games in. We're about a quarter of the sample size here of the regular season. Have they exceeded your expectations so far?
I would say yes. I think coming into the season, a lot of questions about their pitching with Corbin Burns no longer in town. And of course, Brandon Woodruff, not able to pitch for this team. How would Freddie Peralta kind of handle that role as their ace? And of course, you bring in new additions as well. How will the bats continue to work for this team? Will there be offense? And yes, there's been plenty of offense, and it's been really fun to watch. You have Rhys Hoskins, William Contreras is hitting on such a phenomenal rate. Christian Yelich looks like the old Christian Yelich as well. Then you have your youngsters like Jackson Chourio and et cetera really performing, as well as Bryce Terang. So all these guys are really stepping up, and they're helping their pitching. The bullpen has been strong, and this is a fun team to watch because I think I came into the season not really kind of knowing what this team would look like, the identity of it thus far under Pat Murphy. It's a fun brand of baseball to watch, that's for sure. Let's pick
one name out of that list as we go on here and start with William Contreras.
He's been unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I mean, he does it all, and it's not just his offense, and we'll talk about that, but his defense and ability to throw out runners and to call pitches and to orchestrate a staff who, like Lily was saying, doesn't have all that much experience. He has been an MVP caliber player for baseball, and let alone the Brewers. And then, when you have teams trying to run, they know it's not going to be an easy thing with him. But then you get to his offense, and he is on base every single game, basically. He doesn't miss a start. He might not catch every game all week, but he's going to DH and still deliver. And we saw it again today. Even though they lost, he was on base, and he was constantly a threat to the Cardinals this whole series and today. And to me, he's done it in the clutch with guys on base. He's done it when they need a base runner. Every single aspect of his game has been top level, and without him, the Brewers aren't sitting where they are.
He does have that 20-game on-base streak going, and you talked about he's a legitimate MVP candidate. Who thought the Brewers had an MVP candidate sitting on this roster this year?
And a catcher. I mean, we knew that he was solid and very good, but he has put his game at a completely different level, and he has been he's been their force. He's been everything about their success. It all centers around what he's done.
You mentioned Bryce Terang, I think, at the other end, a young guy who was really eager to show this year that he could be a regular everyday player, came back stronger. Last year showed flashes, but he's doing it in the field and at the plate as well. 100%.
I mean, he's, their leadoff hitter, and he's really excelling at that role, but he's also just making phenomenal plays in the infield, and you like to watch him play defense. And, the stolen base rate at this point, he might have 100 by the time the season's over because he's just phenomenal at stealing bases as well. So he really can do it all at the plate, base running, the defense. He is really fun to watch. And again, he's a young player. He wants to be in the starting lineup, so he's doing everything he can to remain in it. And Pat Murphy and company are really impressed with him. I mean, guys in the clubhouse this week talked about how much they liked him at that leadoff spot and what he's been able to contribute. So Bryce Terang really has taken what he learned from last season and built upon it, and that's exactly what you want to see from these young players.
Okay, 2 guys coming into the season who had all kinds of accolades and attention on them for different reasons. I'm going to go one with you. I'll start with you. That would be Rhys Hoskins. The big offseason acquisition, the The average has stayed down here, but he's had some big hits.
He's delivered, right? I mean, he puts the Brewers ahead yesterday, I believe, and goes and helps his team win. And, we talked about not being able to play all last season, coming back, rehabbing, just being able to contribute to a team in a big way because, you don't have Christian Yelich for a spell, so you have Willie Contreras and you have Rhys Hoskins stepping up at the plate, and you need these guys to perform, and they're really doing it at a very high level. But Rhys Hoskins, when you need a big hit, though, you can deliver in the form of Rhys Hoskins, and he really does that for this team with just big hits. And I think every time you hear the crack of the bat, it's like, oh, that's coming out of the park, right? So Rhys Hoskins has certainly been so phenomenal.
Pretty good stuff on Fox. So we appreciate that game on MLB on Fox on Saturday night. The whole Fox crew all the way down into the truck. Everybody doing a good job. Great production with a nice ending there for the Brewers as well. The player I would go to you on, since we're staying on the offensive side of things, would be Jackson Chourio. So much attention, such a hot start. He's a rookie trying to learn at the big league level. How's it going?
It's going well. It hasn't been perfect, but you can't expect that out of a young man at 20 years old coming into the big leagues for the first time. But he's doing it in different ways. In fact, think about just a little more than a week ago in Chicago. He comes off the bench on a Friday and has a huge at-bat in an eighth inning where they rally to come from behind and beat the Cubs. And it's not a position that he had been very familiar with, is coming off the bench late in the game and making a difference. But he gets on base, he steals, he ends up scoring. I mean, it was a very quintessential moment for him this season because it's still early in the season, yet he's learning, he's getting his experiences. Then he gets starts and he still delivers. And we see him making adjustments now, 40 games in. Teams now see kind of what he can do and what they don't think he can do, and he's been able to adjust to that and make up the differences that teams think they can get him out on. Plus his speed, his defense has improved. We saw a diving catch today. He really has been the real deal for them, and I think for what we didn't know with him coming up so early was, would he be ready? So far, 40 games in, he's ready as a major league player.
Pirates are coming this week, and I'm ready to hear one of these games where I do not hear Hopi Milner's warming up in the bullpen. That guy is up every single day. I think he's been in half of their games. But the bullpen has really been a strength, even without Devin Williams at the back end.
They're really holding it together, right? I think, again, we were talking about how is this rotation going to look? You're talking about relievers and starting pitching. And, of course, without Devin Williams for a spell, what are these guys going to do on the back end? And they've really held up well. I mean, Koenig has pitched well. You have Vieira pitching well. And like you mentioned, Hopi Milner, I think Pat Murphy just praises him every time he can get because, I mean, this kid's really, really good. And I know he just can get out of jams and he just kind of provides that lift that you need, especially in the back end when you're pitching. So these guys are really holding down the fort, kind of a sum of parts kind of thing with your bullpen. But that's exactly what you need, right? Just different arms producing well. And that's what they're getting every single night, especially from a guy like Hopi Milner.
All right, so about a quarter of the way through the Brewers season. That's what we're thinking about tonight. Maybe we'll do this again when we get halfway through. We want to hear from you on the Fox 6 Blitz Insta poll. You can go directly to the question by scanning the QR code on the screen, or you can go to fox6now.com. Who's your Brewers MVP for the first 40 games of the season? Your choices are Willie Adames, William Contreras, Rhys Hoskins, Matt Arnold, or Pat Murphy. Turns up a little curveball there for you at the end. Well, curious to see what you're going to come back with. All right, let's talk about the Milwaukee Admirals. They came back from an 0-2 deficit in their first-round playoff series of the American Hockey League playoffs against the Texas Stars. They beat them tonight to clinch their chance to go to the next round. They are now into the second round. It took them 5 games, but they get their home ice advantage. Definitely pays off. Some pretty strong individual performances by the Admirals. Their next game is Wednesday against the Grand Rapids Griffins. Our next moment on Say What Fox 6 Sports Blitz is after this break.
Do I vote? I don't even know if I vote for her.
You really want to ask that question out of the gate?
I just like getting people's attention with something.
My significant other think is sexy, so.
Wow. That was interesting. Was that Taylor Swift?
We were together here last year, and we won here last year, so I thought it was appropriate to ask him again, and he's going to caddy for me this weekend at the PGA Championship next week.
Nice. Thanks for reminding us all that you won here last year. Appreciate that.
And the year before.
And the year before, apparently?
Yeah, and the year before.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, now he's embarrassed. So, mission accomplished.
And that's Steve Stricker with Justin Leonard as they were getting ready for the Regions Tradition, a major on the PGA Tour Champions, where Stricker has won 3 times. He won the last 2. This year he finishes tied for 3rd. And I was able to catch up with him this week as he was looking forward to the American Family Championship, his tournament that is in Madison, as he was also getting ready for the PGA Championship with all the young guys.
It's a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. It's a huge challenge, right? I mean, these guys are so good. Played the Zurich Classic a couple weeks ago, partnered with Matt Kuchar. We played well enough to make the cut, but we didn't. A few putts here and there, but, you know, just to watch these young guys, they bomb it. You know, so it'll be a challenge for me, but I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to be in another major championship, especially out on the regular tour. So, yeah, my sights are set on that and trying to play well in a couple weeks' time.
And you talked about having to change equipment, then going back to what you have. Does that kind of, I don't know if it affects your confidence, but does it affect you mentally anyway as you start to try to gear up and ramp up for these kind of events?
It kind of used to, I would say, but I've been through it so many times throughout the course of my career. You know, when things happen, I've broken drivers before where they've cracked, change irons, and you just got to be comfortable with it before you move on. And I really, you know, the driver seems really good that I got in the bag right now. I've driven it well the last few weeks with it, and the irons I'm kind of been back and forth, so that's why I'm going to go back to my old irons, and that seems to be the right fit for me right now. But you kind of just deal with it and not let it spook you, you know, and there's so many good drivers and irons and equipment nowadays that you just got to find what's right for you and what you want to look at, and then just go forward with it.
What does Valhalla present to you in your game?
Yeah, I haven't been there for a little while, but it'll be long, I'm sure. I think they've added some tees since I've been there, you know, last, and lengthened the course. Yeah, it'll be a huge challenge, you know, for me to be there. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the challenge, and that's why we play, to put ourselves in situations that are going to be difficult and see how you handle it.
How does last year help you then going into this because of the success you had on the Champions Tour and winning majors there, and then being able to get invited and play at the Players Championship?
Yeah, it's you know, it's. I think if you play well anywhere, it can kind of translate. It's just golf, right? I mean, it can translate into playing good at anywhere. You know, if even though it's younger guys, I've played well out there before, and I've been playing well last year. I haven't really played my best so far this year, but things seem to be trending in the right direction. So we'll just see how it goes, and I'll give it my all.
How do you start to mentally gear up for a major? I mean, is it the same as you would for another tournament, or is there a different mental approach that you have to these things?
Yeah, good question. I never won a major, so I probably, you know, needed some help and how to get ready and prepare for that. But I always treated them a little bit differently. You know, I tried to put more time into getting ready and prepared, and maybe that really wasn't the thing to do. And nowadays, my body kind of tells me what I can prepare and how long I can prepare. So I just kind of have a little bit easier approach to it. You know, treat it like another tournament, even though it's a major out there on the regular tour, and just try to go have fun with it and see how I do.
And lastly, what does it mean to be with these younger guys, many of whom you know from the Ryder Cup and playing with them that year when you were the captain? So you've kind of had a lot of experience with this group of tour players.
Yeah, I've been around these guys quite a bit, you know, as assistant captains over the years, and it's just fun going back to see them, because a lot of these guys, you know, 12 of them, you know, I had an experience with at Whistling Straits that we'll never forget. So it's a lot of good memories that when I see some of these guys and some of these young guys. I had a young kid who came up to me during Zurich and just introduced himself to me. You know, I never knew the kid, but or knew of him, but it's just, you know, you get to meet all these new players, and they're good kids. They come out with intentions of playing well, and so it's a lot of fun to go back and feel like the odd man out, but it's a lot of fun.
And Stricker is 57 years old, had a long week in Birmingham, and has withdrawn now from the PGA Championship, which starts this week at Valhalla. But he is still going to play with his contemporaries in a major, the KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship, the following week. Then he'll take another week off before playing in his own tournament, which is the American Family Championship at University Ridge. That's June 7th through June 9th. He is the defending champion there. So we wish him all the luck in the world. But he did say he needs to see what his body's telling him. His body's telling him to take a rest. Well, let's check in on our Instapoll question. Remember, you can go directly to it by scanning this code or going to fox6now.com. Who is your Brewers MVP from the first 40 games of the season? Right now, you're giving it to William Contreras, and to me, that's a very good vote at this point. We'll see what you think by the end of the show as well. Bucks guard Pat Beverly has been suspended 4 games for throwing a ball at Pacers fans at the end of the game in their Game 6 loss. Beverly said on his podcast that his actions were inexcusable. This summer, he will become a free agent, so we'll see if he ever has to really serve those 4 games. And just like Beverly, Thanasis Antetokounmpo is going to be a free agent, but he's more concerned with his physical therapy. Thanasis tore his Achilles tendon in a workout this week. The injury will require surgery. Former Bucks head coach Mike Budenholzer is taking that same position now with the Phoenix Suns. He was fired following the 2023 season and their first-round playoff exit, the Bucks, that is. He spent 5 seasons in Milwaukee, bringing them an NBA title in 2021. The deal in Phoenix is reportedly 5 years worth more than $50 million, and good for him. He's from Holbrook, Arizona, so he gets to go home again. Marquette Athletic Director Bill Scholl announced he will be retiring. Scholl has been the Golden Eagles athletic director for the last decade. He's been a very supportive advocate for MU student athletes while staying largely out of the spotlight. He will remain on the job until his successor is named, and then he will step aside. Our high school hotshot is next.
Welcome back. She's a 2-sport athlete playing on multiple travel teams, but the buzz around her other passion is a sweet story. Here's this week's Fox 6 High School Hotshot.
Hi, my name is Haley Lidke. I'm a sophomore here at Living Word Lutheran, and I'm on both the girls basketball team and soccer team. I just started actually playing last year, and I just fell in love with the team. They're like my second family. I just can't imagine life without it now. We had a 20-0 start to our season, and it is the best in school history this year. Soccer is definitely my sport. I do love basketball, but soccer is hopefully what my future will be in college. I play goalkeeper for club, but all of the skills I learned in club season helped me to translate that to play forward in high school. And I was able to break the school history. I had 19 goals last season. So when I was 8, I was in 4-H, and me and my dad were paging through all the different types of projects you could be in, and we came across beekeeping, and my dad thought it sounded really cool. We started with only 2 hives. I now have 12 hives, and in the past 4 years, we've harvested over 1,600 pounds of honey. It's a family business. Me and my dad just do it. We sell them at farmers markets and just to friends and family and all that. They hibernate all winter, so they don't fly out unless it's warm weather, and then they'll do a little cleansing flight. And they just start with deeps, which are bigger boxes, and that's where they have all their brood, and that's where the queen lays. And then as time goes on, in spring season, we put supers on top, and those are empty, so that's what they pack all the honey into. And we normally extract honey about 3 times a year, so we get a lot. The key to working with bees is definitely being very calm. They know when you're agitated. They can tell your emotions. It's kind of funny. They'll like fly around your head and give you like little warning taps if they're getting agitated, and then you know to leave them alone. Hi, my name is Haley Lidke. I'm a sophomore at Living Word Lutheran. I'm on the girls basketball team and received second team all-conference on the soccer team. And I'm this week's Fox 6 High School Hotshot.
And as mentioned before, Haley does stay busy year-round by playing on 2 club soccer teams, and she does hope to play soccer in college. And as for her beekeeping, which is pretty cool, she's a member of the Washington County Beekeepers Association and hopes to keep this part of her life as she moves forward. Pretty sweet. We'll be right back.
Thanks for weighing in on the Fox 6 Blitz Instapoll tonight. William Contreras appreciates your support as well. You see him as the first quarter MVP.
And he's going to lead the Brewers against the Pirates this week as they welcome men in before taking a day off and heading to Houston for the weekend.
And how about the Milwaukee Admirals move on to the Central Division Finals, Game 1 Wednesday inside Panther Arena at 7 p.m. Make sure to be there.
And we should stress this next series now is 2 at home, 2 on the road, and 1 back
Correct.
home. Different than the previous series, which was 2 and 3. NBA Scouting Combine, Draft Combine is going on this week as well. well. Tyler Kolek, Oso Ighodaro from Marquette, down there seeing what they can do. All right, that'll do it for us for now. We'll see you again next week on the Fox 6 Sports Blitz. Lily, Brandon, Tim, all you mothers out there, thanks for capping off your day with us. See you.